أيها الناس إن خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا. لتعارفوا. Those of you who know Arabic should get a powerful sense of this word لتعارفوا. إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. Translation. O people, we created you from a male and a female, and formed you into nations and tribes, so that you may get to know each other. Indeed, the most pious among you has greater honor with Allah. Indeed, Inna Allaha alimun khabir. Indeed, Allah is all-knowing and all-informed. So what is this ayah telling us? It's telling us about the state of humanity, that we are nations and tribes. In fact, America is a nation of tribes, right? It's a nation of multiple ethnic groups, class groups, all kinds of groups. It's actually a nation of tribes. It's a nation of immigrants. It's a nation of immigrants. It's a nation of tribes. And this ayah tells us that Allah's purpose is in creating these differences, these nations and these tribes, these ethnic differences, these cultural differences, all of these differences that arise because of our skin color differences, because of our physical feature differences, because we come from various different parts of the world. And America actually accepts all of these types of people with their different cultures and traditions and ethnicities and religions, right? That Allah's purpose is لِتَعَارَفُوا, so that you may get to know each other. So I've just got done telling you and suggesting to you that you need to get to know your country and the laws of the land of this country, particularly because some of you are recent immigrants. But even if you're not recent immigrants, you've been living here 20 years or 30 years or 40 years, I'm challenging you, I'm begging you, I'm asking you, I'm beseeching you, understand your US Constitution. How does it work? And recognize that what has happened in the last 3 weeks is a beautiful example of the constraints of power that was designed in the Constitution to protect the rights of people. Okay. But if you do not engage in ta'arafu, in getting to know each other, then you will not appreciate this. Hence, I'm sharing this verse with you. So, if you look at the word ta'arafu, it is, of course, rooted in the word arafa, right? Arafa, to know. But it's just not to know. The Arabic is far more nuanced and complex and subtle, the word arafa. It has the meanings and the subtleties of kindness. The word arafa, of goodness, of tolerance or acceptance, and of patience, right? All of these ideas, attitudes, approaches that a human being can take with each other, this all built into the word araf. But araf is a word, it's a verb, right? It's an action. So what does it, when you look at the action side of this word araf, what does it mean? It means to observe first and then learn from your observation. This is part of the meaning of araf. You observe something, anything, particular societies, human beings, and then you learn from it. It also means to seek after something. You know, you have an objective, and you need to do certain steps, certain things to actually seek it, to get to it. That's part of the word and the meaning of araf. It also means to recognize that which has become customary in a society. And by customary here, I mean the Arabic word urf, which is derived from araf. Urf is derived from araf, right? So in the Muslim tradition, urf is something that is part of society and is considered by that society to be a good thing. To be a good thing. And I would like to challenge yourselves and myself, think about what are the good things that you know about America. And I'll use a very simple example that, you know, many Muslim families, when they have dinner, they talk about this, especially if you have experience back home. Where's back home? It could be Iraq, it could be Syria, it could be Pakistan, it could be Bangladesh. It could be Hyderabad, it could be Calcutta, it could be Damascus, it could be any one of these countries where most of us came from. And one of these things that we always compare is lines. He's smiling, so you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Who else is smiling? You're smiling, it's a soft smile, that's a big smile. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. Lines. You go to a bank, you go to anywhere, you go to a supermarket, you stand in a line in America, right? That's an urfi practice of America. Nobody violates that. Go to another country, unnamed. There's no line. There's this, right? You've experienced that? Yes, all of you have experienced that. So in America, there's respect for a line. That's part of the urf of America. That's part of the greatness and the goodness of the society that they have somehow figured out that, you know, it's a pretty good thing to stand in line. So if you came after somebody who was before you, you should not cut into the line. That's urf. And when you appreciate the urf of any society you live in, and we live in this society, then you are promoting what? Goodness. If you accept the urf, and the urf's definition is that it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a good thing for human beings. And what does it, when do we as human beings say something is good? When it does not have bias in it, when it does not have prejudice in it, when it does not violate some people's rights, but not other people's rights. That's part of the definition of urf. It's good for everybody. It's good for everybody. So this is also part of the word Arafah. So it's customary and it's good. So the active meanings of Arafah are to observe and learn, to seek something after something, and then to recognize and accept and acknowledge and behave according to that acceptance and acknowledgement, that which is customary and good in that society. All of this is part of Arafah, and therefore all of these ideas are part of Ta'aruf. So how are you going to ensure that you learn what is good and what is customary in this society? And how are you going to ensure that everybody else around us learns what is good in you and in your tradition, that is Islam? So Ta'arafu employs and ensures and requires that you learn and you teach. That you learn. This Ta'arafu that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, He is telling us this is the purpose of our creation. Right? Why did Allah create us into nations and tribes? لِتَعَارَفُوا. يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ إِنَّا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ مِنْ ذَكَرٍ وَأُنْثَى وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. Do you know your neighbors? Do you understand American society? Do you understand the difference between the South and the North? Do you understand its history? Do you understand how slavery was intensely practiced and now it has disappeared? But not quite. It hasn't disappeared. Right? Slavery hasn't disappeared, it has morphed. Do you understand that? Do you understand that when you come here as immigrants and you are successful and you rise up in society, but you don't understand the powers of wealth distribution and the powers of how taxes are handled, and that you living in Lancaster enjoy a higher quality of life than the person who lives in West Philly, because the taxes are lower there. If you don't understand this about your society, then you haven't engaged in ta'arafu. You don't know your society. And Allah tells us that we must understand each other. And if you're going to understand each other, you need to understand you, the Muslims, the Muslim Americans. You need to understand how America works, its history, its societies, its groups, its ethnicities, its prejudices, its goodness, its urf. All the good things that are here in America, you need to understand and acknowledge. All the things that are harmful in America, you need to understand and acknowledge. And then, that is your learning. But then what is your teaching? To take the best of what you have. Your deen is an amazing deen. Do you know this? Do you believe this in your heart? None of you are going to say that, no, my deen is not as good as something else. Everybody of you is ready to proclaim it at the top of your voice. Are you then ready to share it and teach this? Because if you don't engage people you will never teach this. The American political system and the checks and balances already came to the rescue of Muslims worldwide in its experience in America. The 9th District Court and the Seattle Court said that EO, which is, in the minds of many lawyers and many civil rights activists, precisely discrimination against Muslims, they already came in your favor and said, this cannot be. We'll see what happens in the Supreme Court if it gets to that. But recognize what, for the sake of ta'aruf, recognize, learn what the US constitutional system already did for you. Also recognize that there is a 9-person team on the Supreme Court. It only has 8 right now. And those 8 are sort of divided right in the middle. 4 are going to very likely support the ban on the Trump ban. The other 4 are going to probably support the Trump ban. So only one position is going to make a difference. And that one position is unappointed right now. And Gorsuch hasn't been appointed yet. That confirmation hearing is underway. If you recall, the Republicans stopped President Obama from appointing that open position. So this is a critical decision that's going to be made, and the timing is really interesting and to be watched. But recognize that after having said all of this, Allah's qadr and Allah's power are never to be forgotten. Yes? Allah's qadr and Allah's power are never to be forgotten. That it may be that this Trump ban reaches the Supreme Court and then the Trump ban is upheld, rather than the decision of the 2 lower courts that the Trump ban should be removed. Okay? It's a 50% toss-up at this point in time. But recognize what happened. Recognize that Umar Sulaiman, this young imam in Dallas, he leads a salah of 100 people in Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, and how many people surround them to protect them? 200 people. Double the number. Where is that coming from? The goodness of people in your country who are not followers of your religion. This is what we have to really, with an open heart, understand. لِتَعَارَفُوا. Allah has created us into nations and tribes to get to know one another. Yours is the job to learn of the goodness of your society, and yours is the job to teach of the goodness of your religion. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الناس إنا خلقناكم من ذكر وأنثى وجعلناكم شعوبا وقبائل لتعارفوا إن أكرمكم عند الله أتقاكم إن الله عليم خبير. O people, we created you from a male and a female and formed you into nations and tribes so that you may get to know each other. Indeed, the most pious among you has greater honor with Allah. The second part of the sequence, the second ayah, it's part of the ayah, it's part of the whole ayah. But the second clause of this ayah, it's a really important clause. Indeed, the most pious among you has greater honor with Allah. As you learn about the society, about others, other nations and tribes, other than your own, as you teach them about yourselves, do not forget that in Allah's eyes, the best of the people in this interaction are the ones who are the most pious. The greater in honor, God's judgment in God's eyes, is the one who is most pious. And you see, it could be a pious person who is you, the Muslim, but it can also be the pious person who is not you, the Muslim, but someone outside. Recognize that. Allah is telling us to recognize. And when you recognize piety, you respond to piety. If you recognize goodness in society, you respond to it. You encourage it. You promote it. Even though it may not be coming from your particular view of goodness, it nevertheless is goodness. So let us not, as we as American Muslims engage in ta'arafu, in this process of learning and teaching, forget that the person who's closest to Allah, who is most honored in Allah's eyes, is the one who is most pious. And piety is known to two entities. For each human being, the piety of that human being is known to that person and to Allah, and to none else. To none else. You know your state of piety or the lack thereof, and Allah knows your state of piety or the lack thereof. And you know nothing about the state of piety of anyone else. We have indicators, but we do not have firm and unequivocal knowledge. So do not engage in making judgments of other people's pieties, but engage in the goodness of their behavior. May Allah guide us all to really engage in this ta'arufu process, because it's high time now, right? It's time. It's time now that Americans really understood who you are as Muslims, and that it's high time now that you understood what America is, what are its beautiful, good possibilities, and what are its harms. And then we engage from our tradition, from Islam, we engage to minimize the harm and encourage the goodness. Minimize the harms, eliminate the harms, and encourage the goodness. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون وأقم الصلاة